Good morning. It's Friday. Just got done with a wonderful workout with my Benji. He's very excited because he can play on those thick, scratchy ropes now without his hands hurting. Today's Realness Challenge, day 12, is selfishness, and it suddenly kind of came to me when I was reading Shannon's post about time and about prioritizing her time, and it just reminded me that there's for me, I was raised, I was told as I was coming up that I was selfish and self-centered, and I'm at a place in my life today where I'm not assigning a positive or a negative to that. However, it was presented as a negative thing, and I spent a fair amount of my 20s trying to fight my understanding of what selfishness and self-centeredness was, and I think it contributed to just a lot of struggle and awkward and pain, right? Something switched probably early 30s, right after my divorce, when I had discovered a lot of things about myself, and realized I had a lot of things that needed improving, and I started to focus more on myself. But it was scary because I had this internal understanding that I'm a selfish, self-centered person. And so I finally reached a point pretty quickly. A lot of things happened very quickly in the span of about 2 years, from the time my divorce was final until I started dating Jennifer. A lot of self-exploration and a lot of discovery, and then a lot of just ownership. And I kind of started developing some of my own hashtags. One of them is reject the premise. I decided to start just like, well, what is selfishness? And how much of that is actually a collision of wills? How much of that is social stereotyping, social expectations? How much of that is a majority of people approaching life from a average and majority standpoint, and that starts defining words that we use, right? And so I started asking myself, like, what if I just own being selfish? What would that look like? And I kind of started deciding, there's some things that are important to me in the universe and my relationship with my fellow man. There's some things I really want to be good at. There's some things I want to be masterful at. There's some things I want to be present for. I'm at a place today where my sole purpose in life, my sole desire towards my purpose in life, is that every facet of my life is put towards attempting to be an example and try to be inspiring and try to be available to help people. But that be an example piece means I have to be selfish, right? And in my early 30s, I wasn't where I'm at today, where I was looking at things like, I want to be an example, or I want to help people. I really just knew that I was really broken in some really fundamental places that actually were just like the majority of the people around me, and that seemed sad, pathetic, and not what I wanted to be. And so I decided to start rejecting the premise, look into myself, and take some priorities over some things. If that meant maybe stupid stuff, breaking social stereotypes early, and probably overcompensating, but like, nah, you can't use my truck to move. Nope, not gonna come help you move. I had something planned for today, and I want to stick with that. No, I'm not gonna hang out because I want to do this thing, right? And it really hurt because I felt like it was really cruel and it was really selfish. But as time went by and I continued to balance out and discover, I reached a point where I realized one of the flaws in society is we put so much negative emphasis on the concept of selfishness that we've not truly defined. And we put so much emphasis on the idea of this charitable giving, helping people out. We've lost sight of the fact that we get to this point where we're preaching stuff we're not living, and we're telling people to do things that we're not doing ourselves. We're going and insisting on what helping looks like when it's not what a person needs. And the fascinating thing about all that is, I think for some people, that energy is done just like checking a box, like almost like, oh, I was not selfish, I forced my help on someone, I did this thing that's good, and if they don't understand it, whatever, right? It's this like me-centric kind of thing that's actually the definition of selfishness, but in a charitable way, right? And so the point of all that, as I go along again, is that I'm quiet. I try to be quiet about what I perceive as social selfishness and self-centeredness. The time I spend at the gym, the time I spend focused on myself and doing the things for me that make me a better person, because I don't want to bring attention to that, and that's the weakness. That's the realness challenge piece. But we got to own our weaknesses, because I'm in a confident place today where I know the results of my selfishness are going to have a tremendous effect on my sphere of influence and my friends and my family, my children. The focus I've put on myself is going to make my children have a different outlook on life that I want them to have. So anyway, that's my realness challenge: selfishness, self-centeredness. And it's really about breaking the stereotype and deciding what that means for you. And because I believe we're all selfish, and it just comes down to someone else's influence or power, maybe even our own self-esteem and our lack of understanding of the definitions of terms, and then us accepting what we perceive a better person telling us is right or wrong, and rejecting that premise. So I hope y'all have a great Friday. I got a 3-mile run coming up here when I get home, and then I got some work I got to get done. I'm gonna take a bath later today and read some more of my ultra marathon book, and it's gonna be a really great day. So catch you guys later.